All right, so I think we'll call the Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 meeting of the Falls Church City Planning Commission to order. Mr. Trainer, can you call the roll, please?
Yep. Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Krasner?
I'm here.
Mr. Stevens?
Here.
Mr. Kravinsky?
Here.
And Madam Chair?
I'm here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. And I know Ms. Friedlander will be absent tonight, and we do have one commissioner who would like to join remotely, Mr. Polinsky. So, Mr. Polinsky, can you please identify your location and the reason for your participation by electronic means?
I'm in Wilmington, Delaware, and traveling for work.
Great, thank you. So can we have a motion to allow Mr. Polinsky to participate electronically?
I move that the Planning Commission approve electronic participation by Mr. Polinsky in this meeting for professional reasons related to travel, pursuant to the Planning Commission's policy for remote participation in Planning Commission meetings as adopted on February 5, 2025.
Great. And Mr. Trainer, I think you said we could do a voice vote, or is it a roll call?
Just need a second.
Second.
Oh, a second.
Yeah, I'll second that. Second.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you said it was a roll call vote?
We can, or in all in favor.
Okay. Is it okay to do all in favor?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
All right. Great. Welcome, Mr. Polinsky. Thank you for joining us remotely.
Thank you.
We'll keep an eye out for your hand, or if we're not seeing your hand, please just chime in. So I know remote participation is tough. Okay. Did everybody have a chance to look at the agenda? Any suggested changes? If not, can we have a motion to approve or adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the meeting agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Polinsky,
I said aye, but I wasn't sure if you guys heard me.
just getting it on the record for Jack. No speaker series tonight, so then that takes us to the receipt of petitions. Mr. Trainer, do you have a summary of our written correspondence?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Jillian Economo of 1203A Lincoln Avenue wrote to the Commission in support of the city exploring an update to its shared mobility device regulations. Aaron exploring an update to its shared mobility device regulations. Aaron Welsh at 314 West Columbia wrote with concern about the city exploring an update to its shared mobility device regulations. And Jean Gresco of 120 North Fairfax Street wrote with concern regarding the cottage housing letter on the agenda tonight.
Okay, great. Thank you. Do we have any in-person petitions?
No speaker slips, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. I think that takes us then to our action items for tonight. The first action item is the aforementioned cottage housing ordinance letter. Thank you for putting a staff report together for this, Mr. Trainer.
Sure. I will give the staff report presentation also. Let's see. The Planning Commission had a work session on the basically the last time that this was before the Planning Commission, which was back in 2020. I think we have the exact date on here. Well, at least City Council held its last work session on exploring an update to the cottage housing ordinance during its February 13th, it's February 17th, 13th, 2017 was when the cottage housing ordinance was adopted, and the Planning Commission, I think in early 2020, reviewed then staff proposals regarding an update to the cottage housing ordinance. There was a clause in the adopted cottage housing ordinance that required the City Council to consider either updating or repealing or no changes to the cottage housing ordinance after 3 years had passed. And so now it's been more than 3 years and no action has taken place. And so during the Planning Commission's, in its annual report to City Council for its 2024 calendar year, the Planning Commission included a recommendation to City Council that it include cottage housing review to its work plan. To date, that hasn't happened, and so the Planning Commission held a work session earlier this year, sort of rehashing what those staff recommendations were from 2020, and expressed an interest in drafting a letter formally, kind of again, recommending that City Council include reviewing an update to the cottage housing ordinance during its 2026 calendar year work plan. And so one has been drafted and included in the package for you all tonight to consider. And so this is an action item where the commission's being asked to and recommended to finalize the draft letter language, and that'll be signed by the chair and circulated to council as a formal recommendation correspondence letter from the commission to city council. And so that is attached, and I could pull that up for the commission's review unless there's any other questions.
Yeah, it might be helpful to have the letter for reference for any discussion. And thank you for that summary, Mr. Trainer. So yeah, so we talked about this, I think it was 3 months ago, maybe it was in July. Had discussed drafting a letter to nudge council to take another look at this. So here's the drafted letter. What discussion do we have on this item? I know, Mr. Stevens, this was something that you were interested in moving, in advancing, and so I don't know if you want to kick this off?
It is, and actually, I have very little to say. I thought the letter was looked balanced to me as far as its goal, which is to recommend to City Council that they include this as part of their work plan. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion that still has to take place, both here, obviously within council, and also within the community. So I think the letter kind of sets that tone and provides, it urges the council to incorporate those needs into whatever action that it takes. So as far as I'm concerned, it's good to go, but I'm eager to hear what the rest of the commissioners think.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Duncan.
I thought it was an excellent letter. Thank you for drafting it. Just to make sure I understand, the fourth bullet point, reduce the minimum required lot size from 45,000 square feet to 33,750, is reducing it from an acre to 3/4 of an acre. Is that what the math works out to be? And is that what we decided, that's what staff's recommending?
That was the staff those numbers were the staff recommendation.
And if I'm remembering correctly, I think those numbers come from the
like
minimum lot area for R1A.
And R1B.
And so the way that works out is, I think those numbers basically suggest that in terms of consolidation, you would need fewer parcels to consolidate to form a site that would meet the new requirements versus what's on the books today.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's my understanding. And the second point is, in response to some public comment that we've gotten, this would apply to properties in T-zones as well as R1A and R1B?
So right now, I think these only apply to R1A with a special exception. And so there's other requirements as well. Among the staff recommendations that were made at the time, inclusion of R1B was also recommended, as well as, other recommendations like lowering the minimum lot area, expanding the eligible location with respect to, distance from a revitalization district. I also want to stress that these recommendations were staff recommendations from 2020, and there's been no, obviously, directive to move forward with these. These were made at the time for consideration. So any council directive would require, renewed and extensive public engagement. I imagine if given the directive to explore an update, these would be starting points for the conversation, and adjustment could be, definitely would be on the table following that public engagement and going to boards and commissions and having more work sessions and et cetera.
Okay, so as it stands now, it would not include T-zones, which were a creature that occurred long after this recommendation was made in 2020.
That's correct, yeah. T-zones aren't part of the current inclusion
Okay.
in eligible district.
All right, okay, thank you.
Thanks. Go ahead.
If I might. I was not here. I think it was in July. It was definitely a summer month that I missed the meeting where this was discussed. So I just had a few questions about some of which you just touched on, as far as the genesis of. I'm sorry, I'll speak to the mic. The genesis of the recommendations in the letter, from staff. And now you just answered that question, that it was stuff that staff had developed. Do you mind maybe expanding just a bit on how, and again, forgive me if you went all through this in the summer, but how staff arrived at those as a starting point even? I mean, was there data you looked at? I mean, I don't know if it was you personally or predecessors. Well, yeah, it was not you, but was there any, in the record, indication of where those suggestions came from? Both, why those as opposed to others, or why,
Yeah, let's see. I should have included the staff report that had, I think last time we had the staff report from the last time either council or planning commission looked at this, which has that history. But so I'll do my best. But I think a lot of these recommendations stem from the fact that in the history of this ordinance, which again was adopted in 2017, there's only been one cottage housing development, which is the railroad cottages. And so, recognizing that cottage housing could be another way to diversify the housing stock in the city, both in terms of form and price point. They represent, something that the city, could have an interest in making more obtainable. And so in order to do that, staff was making these recommendations about lowering the minimum lot area required for the site. Again, kind of lowering some of the steps that were put in that original ordinance in order to perhaps make it more obtainable to developers or more attractive to pursue. I think it would remain a special exception
It would.
item. So.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be, at least, as was previously proposed, that wouldn't change from a special exception item. So it would still go to council in addition to the planning commission for, on an application basis. So it wouldn't be a by right, but.
As well as other boards and commissions.
Of course, yeah. So a lot of those proposals were aimed at just trying to get more, I believe.
Okay, no, that's helpful, and I surmise that that's what the point of it was. I mean, maybe just given that, it might be, maybe the letter could be tweaked to say that, to kind of indicate that that's a starting point, to make it more clear that, and you do say that in here, that this was following the 2020 recommendation, but to indicate that this is a starting point. I mean, again, maybe also to allay some of the concerns that we heard. We received one letter, but I'm sure this is something that we kind of took this up kind of on our own in the summer, and there wasn't a lot of community input, or not, or really any, and so I think it's important that we couch it that way, that this is a starting point. We're building off of what I think the most salient thing, honestly, to underscore is the fact that the original ordinance had this directive to do an assessment of the ordinance in 3 years, so in 2020,
Yeah.
and that didn't occur. I mean, to me, that's the most salient thing to try to drive home to council, to the community, that this was supposed to happen. Whatever your view is on loosening up the ordinance or not. The point is, it was adopted specifically with this directive to take a look at it, which is a very smart thing to do, and that's a good thing anytime we're doing something. I believe the T-zone ordinance might have had something like that too. I don't recall, but it's always good to do that, and it hasn't happened, and I think that something that, is the most important thing to stress as the main thrust of the letter, to be like, hey, council, this is something that, should have been done. It wasn't done. It's important. There's an opportunity here. And maybe, not make it seem like we've come up with these, these suggestions and that's what we want you to do. That this was a starting point, just to remind you, staff had come up with these ideas. These are an example of the type of changes that could be made. Not that we're recommending you should immediately proceed to, set about an ordinance update for this. Because I think that's some of the concern. I mean, I'm trying to parse through the concern that I heard. I think that was part of it, that it was somehow, the commission was just sort of, going to put our opinion out there, and we've done, and, it almost implies that we've done a lot of analysis or, and decided this is what we need to do. And I don't think we mean to imply that. So that's my main comment overall. Again, having not been part of the discussion in the summer, but I think it's important that we tell council, hey, like, we never did this check-in. There's been no further cottage development. That's probably a sign that we should have done the check-in. We haven't done it. Let's do it. And we can. This is a starting point, but it's not the end. And it's at this point it's a very it's just an initial recommendation of ideas to study. For further study. That's my opinion. That's what I would be more comfortable supporting as far as the tone. So it's really a nuance overall. I'm on board with kind of, letting council know that this is something that's important, but maybe just slightly adjusting the tone of the letter.
Mr. Stevens?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good suggestion. I certainly support putting in the objective that there be a 3-year review and that we kind of pass that. Obviously, COVID influenced the delay as to why it hasn't happened in part. And just another kind of thought occurs to me to share is when we talked about this in July, it was staff's view that without some direction from council, they couldn't really put work in on this issue at this time. So that just kind of further supports the notion that those 4 bullets were not things that the Planning Commission came up with. They were simply pulling those from consideration that was developed back in 2020 by staff. So I don't know if the letter needs to have any wording to further clarify that, but that is the background as I recall it.
We do use the word re-examine the following 2020 staff recommendations.
Yeah,
So,
that's.
but I'm fine with adding a paragraph or something, maybe even under those 4 recommendations, saying that they should serve as a starting point. We might need to wordsmith that.
Right, just making clear that we would certainly, as part of any process to do this, we would expect and pursue a robust, community engagement. Process or
That's the last line in the letter, but yeah, we can add that.
Community supported way, right? I just think we touch on it. I think maybe it just needs to be underscored that we're I think we're observing the fact that 1, we missed the deadline, 2, there's been no development, and that is really those are kind of like alarm bells that something isn't working with that ordinance. It was a one-off. We got one project out of it, and it's almost like the ordinance was tailored just for that. And I don't think that was the intent, but that's what it appears. Was the effect. And so I like the fact that we put it in bold. That appears unlikely additional projects will be feasible. I mean, that's also good. But yeah, so I think the more, just maybe, and I don't think we even need a whole new paragraph, maybe something that just refers to these recommendations as a starting point, or encouraging staff to, again, to start with these, maybe reassess, there may be additional things they'd like to, to look at, and that, and then just, again, just to kind of maybe put the community at ease that any such activity, if council was to authorize it, would, there would be a robust community, engagement process that would follow and as part of anything like that.
It's a good suggestion. I want to make sure Mr. Polinsky and Mr. Kravinsky get a chance to weigh in before we do any like wordsmithing.
It's a solid letter. I think I support it, certainly support it. I think, just to clarify, 33,750, I think, is 3 R1B lots.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah, so
Or-
the R1B, I think, is 11,250.
That's
so-
R1A. I think.
I mean, R1A,
Yeah.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
It's
Instead
3
of 4.
R,
Maybe 3 instead of 4.
so 33,750
something.
is 3
R1A.
R1A lots.
Right.
That, and I certainly support adding the reference that there was a missed requirement to
Yeah.
review this because of COVID. And this is actually a requirement for the city to do this that was missed during COVID. And the last question that I have is, and Mr. Trainer, I don't know if you can answer this question for the whole staff. What is your sense of the burden this is going to place on your current work plan?
I think this would be a considerable lift, to just thinking about the public engagement that would need to happen. This is something that would affect, a lot of the city and large parts of it. And so just thinking about, the effort behind the accessory dwellings update, which,
Sure.
also affected, probably not as large a part of the city that this would, although one of the recommendations is including R1B. And so it would be close to the accessory dwellings update in terms of zoning districts and percentage of the city affected. So I would imagine it would be something close to the accessory dwellings update. I don't know if it would be, I think that's kind of the closest thing we can think of. That's the thing that comes to mind.
So you might want to be prepared when this does get to city council to answer the question of what's the workload associated with it and what might have to fall off of your 2026 work plan if we take this on. It seems like a great initiative, but we need to figure out how the priorities of your work plan.
Right.
That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Polinsky?
was going to be the part. So I had two pieces. I mean, I agree with what everybody.
Hold on, Danny. Can you turn him up a little bit?
Yeah, let's see.
You're a little quiet in the room.
Is that
Yeah,
is that any better if I talk louder like that?
that'll help.
That'll help.
Any better? I'll just yell in this hotel room. Hopefully nobody's in the room next to me. Two things I wanted to add here, in general agreement with what everybody said here, is one, I would want to make sure that like any piece of any opportunity cost from doing this work would be clearly understood before the city council did any sort of directing staff to do this work, because I think we want to make sure like this is a good thing. This is a good thing to do, but also at the time, like with all of the city engagement, with all the public engagement, we're going to definitely want. It's definitely going to take up a lot of time, and we need to make sure that we are making the appropriate prioritization decisions. And the second piece of this is, if you could scroll up just a hair, Jack, on the thing, is I wasn't clear that this. The issue was that projects are not feasible based on the existing criteria, just that we had not seen the uptake that we want, and we think changing some of these criteria would give us would make it more enticing to developers. So I think that I think my only point here was that I didn't think it was necessary to make it sound as though the restrictions are coming from these particular set of criteria, though they may be, right? Like I think that's definitely possible, but just that this might be a way to spur interest in this particular set of opportunities, and was something that the council had committed to or had planned on doing previous to this, and we should follow up on it. I'll stop yelling at my neighbors now.
All right, thank you. So I guess maybe we're at a point where I think we want to agree, we want to make a few tweaks. So now we get to do the fun sort of wordsmithing part of this. Mr. Duncan is documenting our trials. Thank you. I thought you might. Mr. Trainer, are you able to do track changes in the,
Yeah,
in the
they're on.
document? Okay.
On and ready.
All right, so let's see. Maybe we can start with yours, Mr. Krasner.
Okay.
Is there a particular way that you would think you would like to word? I think it would be good to include the fact that this was required by the original ordinance, this review that was,
Right.
I don't know, sort of started but not completed. I mean, like that there was a review, there was a staff review that was done in 2020, and then COVID happened. That's
Right.
what happened. It was
Right, this was, right, because the ordinance was passed in February of 17, so
Yeah,
the
so this
3-year
is
mark.
February 2020.
Right,
Yeah,
right at
and
the
then
beginning of COVID.
There was a pandemic, so it's not surprising that this sort of briefly was discussed and then discarded because there were much more pressing issues that the city was
Right.
dealing with.
Should that 3-year maybe go at the beginning of, I can't quite see the,
Oh, under the emergency rule. That's true. Mr. Duncan has raised the point that there was like restrictions in.
In the early days, we were almost, you know, we could barely even work on the budget. I mean, it had to be something extremely
Right, the
urgent.
law was very strict about how you could have a public.
That,
well, you
that
could-
later was liberalized, but
Yeah.
there's no sense of that in this letter, which is, yeah, that's a good point.
It might be good to mention that the 3-year mark, came right at the beginning of the COVID emergency, which limited, the city's ability to complete that review. And since then, right, it hasn't been completed.
And I'll jump in here because others have spoken, but the wording of the first graph sort of presupposes that an update, is the default position. But really what it is that we're recommending is the city council review the city's cottage housing ordinance, make that review a priority item without weighing in on whether it needs to be changed or updated
That's
or
right.
whatever.
that's right.
So I'm looking at the original ordinance. It does say at the last paragraph, be it further ordained, blah, 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 several things. But then C, within 3 years of enactment of this ordinance, the city manager will bring to city council an analysis of applications, approvals, and projects with a recommendation for continuation, amendment, or repeal of this ordinance. So it's pretty clear that there was a requirement for that.
Right. Right, you could quote that. Yeah, Mr. Duncan is right. You could just quote that and say that process, started but never completed, right? I mean, the staff did an analysis. Did you actually present it to council? Did it ever?
It
Yes.
was, yeah, it was presented.
It was even presented to the planning commission.
But staff did not make a recommendation as to whether the ordinance should be continued, amended, or repealed. It was sort of like the
The very beginning. So you
very
could-
beginning of the
Yeah,
discussion.
so that's what you say, that, you could quote that and say that the process to complete that requirement was initiated but not completed, because no recommendation was ever made or adopted. So, and I think maybe that's how we say it. That'd be somewhere, I guess, further up in the letter, kind of as an introduction.
Yep.
Oh, why we're
Yeah,
doing this.
so maybe we can, Mr. Trainer, for Mr. Duncan's point, maybe we can address that in that first sentence first. The Falls Church City Planning Commission respectfully recommends that the city council review the city cottage housing ordinance. Is that right? Better?
Initiate review.
Initiate review of the city cottage, the city,
Right.
rather than, and just strike, consider making an update to.
Maybe say as required, I don't know, maybe we just need to say as required by the 2017 ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah, consistent
Yeah.
with the.
Ordinance number.
Pursuant to that, yeah.
Right, pursuant to, ordinance number 1966, adopted February, 2017.
Yep. And then maybe we can include that sort of COVID context here.
Trying to keep.
Ordinance number 1926, is that what you said?
1966.
Ordinance number 1966.
Right, it was adopted February 13 of 17.
And then you can cut that a priority item for its 2026 work plan, I think. Do you agree, Mr. Duncan? Okay. And then do we want to add this sort of COVID context as an additional sentence here at the intro?
Did we want to include the adoption date? Was that?
Oh, yeah, I'm
Or
sorry.
February-
February 3rd,
13.
13th,
13 of 17.
2017.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Krasner.
Okay.
And then do we want to do another sentence after this? An initial staff review was
Right.
started or was
presented.
presented in February of 2020?
Actually,
Yeah, so maybe
But-
maybe it's reinitiate
Right.
because they started it right, and now we're kind of picking it up again. So maybe the better verb is reinitiate review because it was
Yeah,
started
sure.
pursuant to the ordinance, right? Because it was started within the 3 years and
Mm-hmm.
then it just never finished. So in some ways we kind of were we were trying to comply with the ordinance, but then it fell away.
Maybe the word resume, city council resume.
Yeah, resume.
I like reinitiate. I don't,
Yeah.
Okay,
I think it's fine. I don't, well.
I'm easy.
Yeah. An initial staff review was presented in February 2020, but
But
further discussion did not occur or
well, the
like,
data, I
Was
have-
interrupted due to.
Well, it was interrupted. That's good, right? It was interrupted by the COVID-19 emergency and never completed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the planning commission work session was in January 2020, yeah, and city council was February 3rd, yeah.
I have no recollection of that. I guess I was here. I have no recollection of it.
So an initial staff review was presented in February 2020, comma, or maybe not a comma, I never know if there's a comma before the but
Well, it
was interrupted,
right.
or this
Yeah, interrupted.
was interrupted, or,
It was interrupted by the COVID-19 emergency and never completed. Yeah, it was never completed.
Mr. Kravinsky?
I like that, I would not take out that priority item for 2026. I would just say, as such, the commission recommends this as a priority item for its 2026 work plan. I mean, I think we don't want to just
Yeah, so-
rest on the technicality.
Yeah, so maybe add that
Say
clause
that
at the
This
end.
is still a priority.
Yeah, maybe after the word completed, you could say comma.
Give me a semicolon.
Yeah, and say, therefore, right, we recommend it should be right,
Yeah, we can move that there.
therefore should be a priority item, right?
Is that a new sentence?
Yeah, I would say, therefore, that's a sentence.
Yeah, so period after completed and then.
Maybe like, so therefore, like a reexamination of the cottage housing ordinance should be a priority item, something like that.
For council's 2026 work
Right.
plan.
Examination of the cottage housing ordinance. Right, for the 2026 work plan. Or the council's 2026 work plan, whatever we call it.
Yeah.
In the councils or for councils. Work plan.
Okay. And I think there's an E on the end of there for,
Yeah, this is the worst part about doing this is
your live
my,
spell check.
There you go, if you
my
want.
spelling gets tested.
We all get exposed.
Spelling or typing.
Yeah, no, you do great, Jack. Thank you for bearing with us.
No cri-
Okay, so can we read that through? The Falls Church City Planning Commission respectfully recommends that the City Council reinitiate review of the city's cottage housing ordinance pursuant to Ordinance 1966 adopted on or just adopted February 13th, 2017.
Take out the dash.
I think that might be a track changes thing.
Oh, that's-
Yeah. An initial staff review was presented in February 2020, but was interrupted. Is it, the process was interrupted? The sort of like, but this review process?
It
or-
was interrupted due to,
Yeah, the meeting wasn't interrupted, the process.
but was interrupted
Yeah,
due to.
yeah,
English majors here.
I know, yeah. So an initial staff review was presented in February 2020, but the review process was interrupted. So maybe after the review process was interrupted. Over to the left a little bit. After but, yeah, the review process. Okay, I think that makes sense. But the review process was interrupted due to the COVID-19 emergency and was never completed. Therefore, a re-examination of the cottage housing ordinance should be a priority item for council's 2026 work plan. Does that make sense to everybody, Mr. Polinsky?
Yeah, it does make sense to me. I think that works.
Okay.
And the only thing, where do we address, and maybe it's lower in the letter, the public comment?
That's the very last sentence.
The very last sentence, okay.
Well, I do think Mr. Krasner had some good suggestions about, just making sure that people understand that we're not recommending these four. These are just the four that were initially
Yeah, so
proposed.
you could
So they're
have priority
starting- yeah.
item. You could say priority item for council's 2026 work plan with full public engagement.
Sure, yeah. I think it's always good to stress that that is how we do business. So if you scroll down, Jack, down to that section, so council provide direction to staff to, how are you thinking of updating this, Mr. Krasner, to make it clearer? Do you have an idea here?
Let's see. Yeah, I guess my intent was I wanted to make sure that, it was clear these are starting points. Right, we do say these were, these were 2020 recommendations, and so.
You said initial staff recommendation?
Maybe that, right.
The initial, so yeah, instead of like strike following from 20, in front of 2020, so just the initial 2020 staff recommendations. And do we want to say as a starting point for
Right,
public
or-
discussion, or do we want to,
Well, you say
As
that
part
in the
of-
first paragraph.
yeah,
already.
Or maybe when we say something to the effect of like, including but not limited to these ideas. I mean, these were the initial ideas they had 5 years ago.
yeah.
A lot of
things are
time.
different.
Yeah, a lot of time has passed. So maybe something that, that's what I'm looking to imply to people, that these were the initial ideas. It's been 5 years. We should evaluate whether or not these are still valid proposals, but this is not, it's an exclusive list, right? We want to make sure people know this is like a,
It's not chiseled in stone.
right, it's not
No.
including but not limited to these ideas of ways to amend the ordinance. So something like that. I don't know, I got to think of a better way, more concise way to say that, but
So given the city's ongoing need for a broader range of housing options and staff's previous detailed review of potential updates, Planning Commission recommends that council provide direction to staff to re-examine the initial 2020 staff recommendations as part of future work planning. Let's see, I'm not sure how to get the including but not limited to.
yeah, give it to somebody.
We could add the including in here, but not limited to, because these were the four recommendations.
Maybe like, again, I think, it's getting back to that, the second clause in that sentence, staff's previous detailed review. I mean, I think, again, that's also implying that like staff came up with these ideas 5 years ago and these are great and we're going to just, this is what we want. I think we don't, I think we should maybe instead of saying, given staff's previous detailed review, that's kind of implying like they did all the work already, and so we just need to adopt this. I think we want to maybe say that something different. So maybe that second clause needs to change to something that, more the gist of the end of the paragraph where it says we should re-examine these. I mean, something like So maybe it needs to be more, maybe not even like a given, just staff had previously identified, was it four recommendations? And then we should acknowledge the fact that 5.5 years has passed. So it might be more, given that 5.5 years has passed, and, I think the council should direct staff to, again, reevaluate these recommendations and identify if further, if modifications or further recommendations are warranted or
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, we sort of, I guess, make the case for picking this up again in that first paragraph now more strongly than we did before, because this paragraph originally was sort of making the case for,
Okay.
we're looking at a broader range. We would like to have a broader range of housing options in our community, and cottage housing is one of the pieces of that puzzle. And so that was sort of the
Okay.
why
Okay.
for, I'm not arguing again, I'm just saying like now the why is also, we said we were going to do this and we didn't do it. So, let's see, I always hate like,
I think in the context of that
editing.
first paragraph, the way it's worded now is pretty solid. I mean, we're saying we didn't complete it in the, when we were supposed to, and so we want to re-examine the initial recommendations. I mean, anything's open to misinterpretation, but I think we're pretty clear there.
Mr. Duncan, do you feel council members would feel themselves limited to just these 4 bullet points?
Well, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, is it possible to say, given the city's ongoing need for a broader range of housing options, okay, we all agree with that, and just drop the next phrase. The Planning Commission recommends that council provide direction to staff to re-examine its 2020 recommendations, comma, which included,
yeah,
removing, expanding, permitting, et cetera. So
So that it's just a listing?
that list sounds less comprehensive and
Right.
decided than just like, here's some things that they came up with that were specific enough to, be worthy of including in a letter like this, but not preordained.
okay, so let's, Jack, can you strike that clause, the end staff's previous detailed review of potential updates, if that's rubbing people the wrong way? Given the city's ongoing need for a broader range of housing options, the Planning Commission recommends that council provide direction to staff to re-examine the initial 2020 staff recommendations, and maybe here, let's cut that as part of future work planning.
Yeah,
And let's
cut
say
that.
2020 staff recommendations that would expand that would amend the staff recommendations to amend the cottage housing ordinance.
Or just, first I thought we were saying like, which included,
Yeah,
those things.
Which included,
Right,
yeah, we can do that, but I think we need to be clear about what what the origin of these recommendations are, what was the purpose of them.
Okay.
Right, okay, to expand the.
Yeah, to re-examine the initial 2020 staff recommendations.
Expand opportunities to implement,
To-
implement the ordinance or to, right, because that's the whole point of it, is that it's, we're at expanding opportunities to,
Yeah, to expand the ordinance.
reach the breadth of the ordinance, I mean, something like that. I mean, that's kind of what we're looking to do by, both spatially, by saying we're going to, look at more locations, more parts of the city, also the age restriction. I mean, we're opening it up in different directions, both.
Yeah, there were 4 very different areas to consider.
That's fine.
Okay, so the Planning Commission recommends that council provide direction to staff to re-examine the initial 2020 staff recommendations that would expand the ordinance? Is that what we want to say there?
Expand the reach of the ordinance
That would expand the,
and
I don't know that
opportunities
it's
to implement the ordinance.
maybe we don't need it. Okay, if we're struggling, then maybe we can just drop it. So do we want to add here like comma including colon? And then, so after recommendations, Jack, add a comma and including? Okay, and I think we have a colon already after that. And then if you scroll down under the 4, do we want to say something like these ideas were recommended in 2020, we're not limited to these. Because right here, we're sort of talking about the work plan. But do we want to add a line here that sort of gets at that idea, Mr. Krasner, that, these are a starting point, these recommendations should be considered a starting point for public review and discussion.
Okay.
And maybe it's just one sentence that's all on its own, unless somebody has a better idea there. But I want to get that idea into the letter, because I don't want this to cause some sort of panic that we're planning on.
Right.
So can you just add another, like a paragraph here, Jack, and then say these recommendations, not changing this paragraph, but adding another one above it, should be considered a starting point for public review and discussion.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah, that makes me happy. I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely the intent. Any other?
The only thing that just from strictly a style point.
Yes.
If we're going to use the word including, I think we go to removing the age restriction, expanding the eligible.
You gotta add ings.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
You have to add ings to your verbs.
Okay, we need ings.
Moving, expanding, permitting, and reducing.
Expanding. Permitting has 2 T's, Jack, I think. I would get that one wrong. That's why.
Is that a preemptive spelling correction?
Yeah.
Oh. You didn't even have time
I knew that.
You didn't have time to get it wrong.
That's probably a word that you see a lot.
I trusted you, Jack. I knew you were coming through on that one.
I always get that one
I was
wrong.
panicking.
You know, it's a liberal arts college.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it right.
All right, are we happy? Do we want to read through the whole thing, or are we good with it?
I'd like to read through the next paragraph. There's something sort of.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it too abrupt? Is there?
I don't know if we even
something
need to say, I mean, if it's important to us, I don't think we need to apologize. and say,
Exactly.
We know you're busy.
Yeah.
It's like saying like,
yeah,
I know you're really
yeah.
busy, but.
Yeah, do you wanna
know,
cut that?
Yeah, get rid of that. If we
Yeah.
think it's important, I mean.
Just say we believe.
Case. I guess we have a stronger case now that this is
Right.
in the ordinance, and we didn't do it.
We believe that revisiting the cottage housing ordinance represents a meaningful near-term opportunity. Is a perfectly fine
Yeah,
sentence.
you
Yeah,
could,
that's
everything
fine.
from nonetheless to the beginning, you could delete that.
No, the other
above.
way.
Nonetheless, go up. Yeah, commission.
above.
Yeah, sorry, from the commission through nonetheless.
Through nonetheless.
Yeah, get rid of
Yeah,
nonetheless. Because
Yeah.
now we're just saying
That's
it.
a non
Right, We believe
sequitur.
they're visiting the ordinance represents a meaningful near-term opportunity for incremental change in residential zone that could help address ongoing challenges. That's fine. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Okay.
condition may include a clear public process. That just underscores what we said. That's fine. Now we've said it. Oh, Jack, you better fix the the word in the sentence we added there above.
Oh, yeah, let's fix that.
That's a classic planning error, actually. in Your writing. You have pubic meetings all the time.
Right.
Here. I'll stop there.
I'll not tell the joke.
I'll stop there. I can keep on going with Earn Mixed Company.
All right. Anything else? Mr. Polinsky? Is he
We,
still? He had to go.
You got knocked off, I
He's-
think.
yeah,
I think
he's,
but he's in there, admit.
Oh, can you admit him, Jack?
yeah, it's trying to,
Probably got bumped
Admit him.
off.
I'm not sure if it's,
I can see the admit.
yeah.
You can't
I
click
see
it?
he's in the lot. I'm trying to let him in. It's just spinning. Wonder if I can.
Let me text him. I have his
Yeah.
number.
Internet service in Delaware.
Back and beyond.
I don't know.
I guess he might be watching, maybe. Okay. Any luck? It's just spinning?
Not yet. It's- yeah.
Okay. Can you vote over my text messages?
Might have to.
Kidding.
To reboot.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that works, if you quit the Teams meeting.
Hmm.
Okay, well, any other edits?
Nope.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay, then I think with those changes, can we get a motion to approve the letter?
Since I was there at the beginning, I think I should probably make a motion that we send the letter as revised to our friends on the city council.
I will second that.
Great, thank you. Do we need a roll call vote?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do it. So first was Mr. Duncan, is
Yes.
that right? And sorry, who seconded?
Mr. Stevens.
Now the vote, Mr. Duncan,
Aye.
Mr. Krasner,
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Mr. Kravinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Polinsky is still not with us, so Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bearing with us. Jack, you're a very good typist.
You win the track changes
Yeah, you really
Hero of
do.
the Week award.
It's terrific.
Yeah.
Real-time government here.
A couple trial and errors will identify some best practices.
Yeah. Oh. I see it's spinning now.
I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, okay.
Once it gets that.
Okay, all right, well, thank you all. So I think that takes us to our next action item, which is the approval of the Planning Commission minutes from the September 17th meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review? I was not here, so I'll abstain.
I did have a chance to review. If nobody else caught anything, I didn't see anything, and therefore would move to adopt the meeting minutes for September 17th, 2025.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
Okay. Oh, he's back.
No, he's back. Mr. Polinsky?
He's not there.
Very exciting to be back.
Oh, yay.
Thought you got blown away by the wind or something.
Yeah, the internet died, the hot water's out, this hotel's having a rough time.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. What a bummer. I don't suppose that we can record Mr. Polinsky's vote, can we?
I think we already.
Procedurally?
Yeah,
No?
I think we
Okay.
already.
Yeah,
All
that,
right, well, it passed.
that's fine.
Sorry about that. Bad timing. Okay, so then that takes us item 7, work session items. We have none. So information items. Any planning commissioner reports? Mr. Stevens?
No, I don't.
You are representing the planning commission at the regional chair
On Friday, yes.
board breakfast on Friday. Thank you for doing that.
Welcome. Hopefully, it'll be a useful opportunity to learn what our peer organizations are up to.
You said single stair is on the,
Yeah, they have a round robin of different topics, housing initiatives in each jurisdiction. They threw in single stair just to find out if anything's going on in various jurisdictions.
anything on parking?
Didn't see anything specifically on that, but the last meeting I attended, if somebody has an issue they want to share, you just do it. So
Okay.
It's
Okay.
pretty loose format.
Yeah, well, thank you. Mr. Duncan, did you have?
The only thing I wanted to report was something I meant to report at our last meeting, which was to, for the historical record, take note that Carol DeLong and Freddie Foote's portraits are now watching over us at the Planning Commission. And I think for historical record purposes, that's significant. Obviously, the city's first woman mayor and the town's first African-American alderman. And Carol, my mother-in-law, also was a longtime member of the Planning Commission before she moved on to city council. So I just wanted the minutes to reflect that somewhere, if that's possible.
They're lovely portraits.
Yeah, it was a nice ceremony that was hard worked by not only the artist, but the staff who organized the choreography of it all. It was a very impressive gathering of the community. And Tate opened at West Broad and Southwest.
Exciting. More restaurants to choose from.
I will add in, the neighborhood got a chance to go on the tryout day for Tate on Monday, and it was wonderful. So really excited for that to be open.
It's great. Mr. Krasner, did you have?
Oh, just a brief report. I mean, it's sort of, yeah, well, I had the ability to attend the National Capital Area chapter of the American Planning Association meeting in DC 2 Fridays ago. In addition to seeing our former director, Mr. Stoddard, which was fun, he's now the director in Alexandria. But actually, what was of more note, there were a number of good sessions, but one that I think was particularly interesting was about, and I wasn't familiar with this actually, there's like a group called Housing and, like housing with an ampersand, and they produce some, they like aggregate data for the region, and I can send around their information. They have this tool called the Housing Indicator Tool, like HIT. And what was interesting too is that as a jurisdiction, we ranked at the top in a few of their measures, which was particularly interesting, like including, they set production targets of new units. And, for example, Falls Church exceeded the annual production target. We had 464 new units built in 2024, and we've produced at least 1,388 units since 2019, exceeding our 6-year target of 780. And we were at the top of the entire region in 2 of those measures, which I thought was really interesting. I'll forward it around. I could put it as an info item maybe for the next meeting, but it was a good thing. I mean, obviously we always have more work to do, but sometimes it's good to kind of look backwards and take stock of some of the successes that we've had as a jurisdiction. I mean, it's all, again, it's all relative, but for our size, I mean, we're overproducing compared to our peers. It doesn't mean that, we should rest on laurels and that's enough, but it shows that, we've done quite a bit.
Done a lot.
If there's any chance you could circulate that tomorrow, it might come in handy when I'm in with the other planning commissions around the region.
Yeah.
Yes, I will forward that, and so you can take a look at that. But it was, again, I was it's at the National Press Club, and they had this PowerPoint up in this big, banquet hall, and on a couple of the slides, Falls Church is #1, like by a large margin.
That's
And
awesome.
so,
And it wasn't like a function of our small size.
no, it's per capita, right? So we were.
It's
yeah.
normalized for
Right,
size.
right. So
Yeah.
per capita, per our small size, we're over. We were ahead of our, of all the neighboring jurisdictions as far as that goes. I mean, there's still, again, doesn't mean that the region's doing, what it needs to do, but it was good to see that. So yeah, I will forward that around. Again, I was not familiar with this thing. Again, it's called the Housing Indicator Tool. If you Google it, you'll find it. But I'll send around the link too, and I'll send it to staff as well. I think it's just a good resource. Again, it provides a lot of metrics and again, some ability to compare jurisdictions within the region. So pretty interesting. So anyhow, that's my report.
Thank you for pointing that out. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Nothing from you. Okay. All right. I don't think I have anything to report, but I'm looking forward to checking that out. Okay. Are you delivering the director's report? Or is there a director's report?
There's no
tonight?
director's report.
Nothing. Okay.
But I can run through the look ahead.
Yes,
The schedule
that would be
ahead.
great.
There's a busy couple months coming up, so it'd be good to review that. So the November meetings are the 5th and the 19th. And they're jam-packed with stuff. October 27th, council meeting. There's several action items scheduled to tee this stuff up, including initiating resolutions and first readings. So on November 5th, we have scheduled the Tinner Hill rezonings. These are several properties on Tinner Hill Road and 2 over on Liberty Avenue that have been used as single-family homes since the early 20th and late 19th century. These are legacy African-American homes whose families have owned these properties and used them as single-family residences that are zoned commercial. These are in B3 districts. And so the City Council in 2021 appropriated about, I think it's $15,000 for the city to cover the costs associated with the rezoning. And so staff has done the work to tee that up and is ready for the public meetings, which includes an amendment to the future land use map for certain properties. That includes changing the Liberty Avenue ones from a commercial use to a residential use on the future land use map, and amending the Tinner Hill properties from one residential density to a suggested another density on the future land use map. So that one's a little more housekeeping, but that's what those items are. And coming to the commission also is a work session on the tree canopy code amendments. This is something that Charles Prince, the city arborist, and Kurt Lawrence, our environmental planner, are working on updating the city's minimum tree canopy requirements for commercial developments in the city. That's another one that's getting first reading on October 27th from council. And then lastly, the zoning cleanups are coming back to the commission for a work session. And then,
Have we seen those before?
oh, maybe not,
It's a
sorry.
fir- yeah.
The city council had a work
City council
session
had
on
it.
those, and so
Yeah.
the planning commission will have its first work session. These are very cleanup items, adjusting things for clarity and punctuation and that kind of things. These aren't substantive items, but are very kind of clerical in nature. There's 3 of them. And so they're very straightforward items. And then November 19th, we've got scheduled a public hearing for the Tinner Hill rezoning items, public hearing for the site plan code amendments, which the commission had a work session on, I think, in August, earlier this year. And then we've also got scheduled Caitlin Sobsey coming back to give her quarterly CIP update to the commission.
Great.
And I'll remove that tentative tag because that is confirmed. So yeah, we've got 2 very busy November meetings, followed by a very busy December 3rd meeting with a public hearing on the tree canopy amendments and the zoning cleanups. Andrew Olison will be coming to the commission to talk about a Bike Falls Church initiative working with Nova Parks regarding the stop signs, I believe, and trail crossings on the WNOD. This is a design item, I think specifically for the stop signs, but I'm less familiar with this item.
Is that I don't know if it's a work session item, though. Is it more of, I thought he was going to be speaking during public comment.
Yeah,
and-
I thought he was seeking some feedback. He has a presentation, and
Yeah.
so I think his intention was to get some feedback.
Okay.
Which probably warrants a work session more than
More than
a
yeah,
3-minute
okay.
public comment. I can touch base with him and sort of get some more information, but that was the sense I got. It
Okay.
sounds like, I think this is an update to an initiative that Bike Falls Church undertook a couple years ago. So he came before the planning commission again a couple years ago, and I think that was a work session item. And so I think this is a continuation or update of that process.
Okay, so just allow for a more expansive discussion
Yeah.
if needed. Yeah, okay.
And then also that December 3rd meeting, it'd be good to talk about the schedule of meetings for 2026.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
we'll put that together. one last thing I wanted to flag is any preference for when the Planning Commission would want to have its annual advance?
I was just thinking about that. So that's been scooting back like kind of later.
Yeah.
Which makes it harder because we don't have those discussions. We can't really do our annual report to council. That also gets pushed to like April if we do the advance in like March. So would people be opposed to doing it a little earlier, January, February timeframe? That's when we used to do it, right?
Yeah.
January, maybe?
I was even going to pose either December or January. Council has their advance retreat meeting I think in mid-January. That date's still being finalized, but it would
Okay.
be beneficial to have the commission's recommendations and annual report finalized ahead of that meeting. So
okay.
They're
council
talking
can have
about
that.
January 24th, is that right? That's what was on the,
The 24th. Last I heard, that day was still being finalized, but it will be in January.
So our meetings in December are the 3rd, which looks quite busy, and then the 17th is canceled. So would we have like a special meeting if we wanted to do it in December?
Yeah, it'd have to be, if you wanted in December, it'd have to be a
December's
scheduled
kind of
meeting or
Tough month.
as part of the
Is it?
schedule of meetings discussion, we could talk about when in January too might be.
Okay,
I think a December meeting is always challenging.
yeah, I think with the holidays,
Recommend
it's
that.
too much. Mr. Polinsky, did you have a comment? Danny?
We lost him again.
I was gonna say, like, if for me if we could use the 17th, that actually seems like it'd be a good time. But I understand, like, it's a lot challenging for holidays and other things.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we'll look to schedule the advance in January.
Do you all do it on a regular meeting night, or is it a weekend thing, or what's
It's
the norm?
actually, usually we're in Dogwood, we get some sandwiches,
Okay, so you do it like,
yeah,
could you do it as soon as January 7th?
yeah, potentially.
Okay, that would get-
Is it usually on a regular meeting night? It is, right? Yeah,
Usually, I think actually, I'm trying to remember. I feel like there have been extra meetings scheduled for it, but that may have just
Yeah.
been a function of
we had other packed
things that
agendas.
are coming down the pipe that are time sensitive. But yeah, typically it's a regularly scheduled planning commission meeting that's set aside for planning and discussion about what the commission wants to recommend to city council to include on its work plan. So similar to tonight's exercise with the cottage housing ordinance, that could be something that, when it was this past year, it was part of the planning commission's advance. It's part of why we ended up having that item on tonight's agenda. But that's similar to, or that's what the advance is meant for, is sorting out what the commission's priorities are in terms of making a recommendation to council on what to include in their work plan for the next calendar year.
How would that work for staff, do you think? I mean, the offsite, or whatever we're calling it, the advance is a little bit of a heavy lift for staff. So you guys are going to be off, probably a lot of it will be off between Christmas and New Year and stuff like that. You think you can handle it, the staff can handle it as soon as January 7th?
I would think so. I mean, the sooner we know the date, the better we can prepare. We also have a planning director this year, so that's always helpful.
Plus.
Last year, a big part of the delay was just we were shorthanded.
Yeah.
Everyone on staff was in the middle of their own projects, and so planning the advance on top of that was an extra heavy load than it normally is. But I think this year, now that we're full strength, it shouldn't be,
You
too
could
much
work-
more.
If we met on January 7th, you could do a lot of the work, hopefully, in December, when
Right.
we're otherwise not meeting for the last 2 or 3 weeks of December. Some of which are holidays, but not all of which are. And you'd still have a few days after the beginning of the new year to set things finally up for our meeting on the 7th.
Right.
Well, that sounds all right to me.
I agree. Okay.
Very selfishly, so January 7th is my daughter's birthday. So if we, no, I'm not saying we could, but if like we could start at 6:37 so we could do dinner and then her birthday and I can come out for that, that would be really useful. I know we started it this year. I think it's 6, I want to say.
So, yeah, we can adjust the start time.
You know, bring her, if she brings the birthday cake.
She'll bring all the cake.
Yeah, and you can always join us, like if we, if you're a little late, that's okay too, Danny.
Okay.
Yeah, but thanks for raising. It's hard to coordinate all these schedules.
It's fair.
Okay, well, we can, there's plenty of time to nail down that date, but we can keep looking at the 7th.
Yeah, I think that's good. Let's pencil it in. I mean, I
Okay.
think if it's helpful to you all to have like a date in mind that you can work towards, then have
Choose that.
what do you need from us in terms of, I know sometimes the advance, it sort of is more staff-led, and sometimes we're providing topics that we want to discuss. So what's maybe this is a question for Mr. Matusek too.
I think Mr. Matusik has some ideas about
Okay.
how that'll go. Yeah, I think in years past, a successful advance has had some exercise to, foster some discussion amongst the commission
Yeah.
instead of just staff talking at the commission. And so
Yeah.
I think he's got some ideas to, have a good advance, and it'll be catered. So if there's any, we've done Panera in the past, and I think that seems to have been well received. But if there's any other recommendations, then I think we can certainly hear those too.
We could do a progressive dinner. We could start with, dinner from Panera, desserts from Tate. Maybe by that time, the Parisian baguette place will be open, and we can have,
All right, I'll check the budget.
Yeah, exactly, really. Panera's fine, I think, for me.
Yeah.
One question about the schedule. At a point in time, it was on city council's agenda, and I think it fell off probably 6 months ago. Do you know when the cable franchise agreements are going to come back to us? It fell off the radar completely.
Yeah.
It was on the schedule for
Our
renewal.
latest calendar was December 8th, Cox, Verizon, and RCN. Second reading, so
Oh, okay.
they must have put it, but yeah, it's the first reading is November 24th for those franchise agreements.
On city councils?
Yeah, city councils, at least on the last mayor's meeting agenda that they handed out. That's
Oh, okay.
that's a
It's
week.
not on this
No, it's moved.
schedule.
Right.
That's a
Okay.
week old, but that was what.
All right, that's good.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you, Mr. Kravinsky, on that schedule.
All right.
Can we back up to October? So we're not meeting any time for the rest of the month, right? We're not meeting again until after the election.
The way it looks.
Yeah, I
Correct,
think
yeah, the
that's
next planning commission meeting is the November 5th.
If I could, since it's not too of late, ask a couple of questions about then what we would face on November the 5th, including the tree canopy. Jack, I know this is not your staff lead responsibility, but I listened to the work session the council had the other night, and I know more information is being collected, and it's still a bit of a work in progress, but I just wanted to ask a question that I want to make sure it gets discussed, and that's how the methodology for measuring canopy didn't seem entirely clear to me. Mr. Stevens can speak about this at length with eloquence, but it still seems, as far as we are into this discussion, that there's not a clear-cut way to actually be sure that the canopy measurement that we use is accurate. And specifically, and with great granularity, I understood them to say that the count that they're using now counts the scrub trees on a prospective redevelopment site, but does not count the green space that is lawn, for instance, the Madera Falls Church Founders 2 development has, as we all know, a nice green lawn on the Ellison Street side, which is, you know, a permeable surface. And as I understood the discussion that I heard, that doesn't count in terms of canopy. I mean, I guess canopy is only specifically trees and shrubs. At any rate, it's, I mean, I have many pictures of scruffy, ugly, useless trees on the old development site, and a nice picture of the lawn that's there now that soaks up the rain just as well as anything that was there before. And I would, by the time it comes to us, at least like to have somebody explain pretty clearly why that makes sense. So if you could pass that along in the office, I would appreciate it.
Will do.
And also, I didn't catch whether they're counting the investment that we made at the Fellows property to keep that land, that 2 acres, in green, as opposed to developing it for 8 single-family houses, which is where we were going until we spent the millions to buy the land. That needs to be counted on the plus side. And also the purchase of the house and any other properties for stormwater management mitigation also, in my mind, ought to be included in the calculation of what we're doing to, you know, make the city more absorbent, basically, is what I want to measure up, not specifically only tree canopy, but, you know, permeability improvement index is something I'd like to, somebody who's crunching these numbers to take into consideration. And the only other thing that I had, not related to that, but is the Virginia Village topic is supposed to be discussed at council on November 17th. I just want to make sure that in our meetings in October and November and December, we keep us posted on what's being discussed about Virginia Village. If there's any developments, that's a pretty key cornerstone of planning for not only land use of the land, but also housing. And that seems like it ought to, if there's a joint meeting that we could listen into or participate in, that would be useful in the middle part of November on until whenever council quits for the holidays. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan.
One thing I forgot to flag is that our team working on the Public Utilities Comp Plan Chapter Update, the Community Building Blocks Chapter 8, Zoe Larive and Emily Bazemore will be hosting a pop-up event here at City Hall right before the November 5th Planning Commission meeting. So that'll be advertised to the community and is trying to piggyback off the Planning Commission meeting and hold a informational and again an engagement event that night. And I think regarding the Planning Commission's review of this item, a work session will be scheduled in early 2026, I think in January. That doesn't have a date yet, but we'll be coming back to the commission in early 2026.
Great. Looking forward to seeing it. All right. Anything else? Mr. Polinsky? Anything from you?
Nothing else. Nothing else from me. Thank you.
All right. Well, then I think that takes us, we have correspondence. Any correspondence, Mr. Trainer? Okay. All right. So then I think that adjourns us 20 minutes after your estimate, but not too bad. Thank you all.
When are you coming back to town, Danny? We got to meet at Tate.
I'm ready. I'll be back on Friday, ready to have a secondary meeting over there anytime.
Okay, all right.
See you
The
soon.
West End branch will, we will not violate the open meetings law. There's only 2 of us.
Only 2 of us.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Thanks, Danny. Bye.
Thank you.